This is Dr. Brandon Beals. I am the lead and founding pastor of Venture Church in the Seattle area.
My name is Tony. I pastor Venture Church Seattle.
With this podcast, we talk about things that pastors always want to talk about but are afraid to.
I'm so glad you're with us today. Welcome to Pastors Unfiltered.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pastors Unfiltered. This is Pastor Brandon, PB, whatever. I'm your host today. I am minus Tony. We warned you last week that Tony, no one really knows where Tony is for the next 2 weeks. I do have a couple special guests that I'm going to introduce to you in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to thank our sponsor. This is the last official day that he is our official sponsor. His business isn't going anywhere, Anderson Lawn Care, but we're still renegotiating the future sponsorship contract. But if you're interested in sponsoring Pastors Unfiltered, Tony and I are going to make the decision within 2 weeks. We're going to have a beginning of an episode sponsor and a middle of the episode sponsor. Just let us know if that's something that you're interested in. You can reach out to us via our social media platform, respond on the Pastors Unfiltered Instagram. We'd love to talk to you about those possibilities, but a great time to be a Seattle sports fan right now. We have the Seahawks are 3-1. I don't really care, but they are. And the Mariners won the AL West for the first time since 2001. Craziest part about that is I was in Modesto when this happened. It was really depressing. Mariners win 116 games. As an enormous baseball fan, back then you couldn't even stream games. They weren't broadcast in Modesto. So I would sit in front of my computer with really slow dial-up internet as I would watch a little icon that would have a hitter go from one base to the next. It would basically take an extra hour and a half just to watch it. That's how I followed the games back then. Then, of course, they win the division, make it out of the first round, but lose. I think it was to the Yankees in the second round, which really stunk. Who knew it was going to be 25 years later? Who knew that my boys would be one the last time the Mariners won the AL West? So this is a pretty significant deal. Pretty pumped. First home game, the AL Division Series is Saturday. I'll be there. The next home game is 5 p.m. on Sunday, so no excuse. Be at church on Sunday. Then we'll all go to, we'll either watch the game or we'll go to the game. I'm going to go to the game with my wife, who will be preaching on Sunday. So great weekend. Looking forward to it. Historic weekend for a Seattle sports fan. So be excited about that. Before anybody mocks me about the Raiders, I know. Geno Smith is Geno Smith, throwing tons of interceptions. The one thing that he was good with the Seahawks is he made really good come-from-behind wins for the Seahawks. Had a chance for a great come-from-behind win against the Bears for the Raiders. Drives the ball all the way down the field, set up to kick a game-winning field goal, blocked. Raiders lose. Raiders are 1-3. But because you're a Raider fan, I'm an eternal optimist. It's all going to work out. It's all going to be great. A couple other things that I'll mention here. We are still deep in the midst of our expansion project at the Central Campus. That's why we're in a random location for the recording, because currently my office sounds like a war zone. Once the new expansion is completed, we will have a podcast studio. A permanent 24/7 podcast studio. We're going to launch multiple new podcasts at the same time because it'll be much easier not having to set up, tear down every time we do it. So we are going to have a permanent home within the next couple months, but we're doing that. If you're a part of Venture and you're listening to this, we are deep in the midst of raising the final $900,000. We've currently surpassed the $200,000 mark, which is awesome. 1 month, we raised $200,000. We still need $700,000. We are moving forward with the project in faith, believing that all that's going to come in. But I want to encourage you, if you're part of Venture, be praying about what you're going to seed into mine and your legacy, our future, by helping us complete this building. It's going to be amazing. Really looking forward to it. I want to introduce our guests today. We have two special guests. Formerly Claire Dayton, now Claire Rasor. Claire's been a multiple guest on this podcast. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you. I have been on many podcasts.
How many have you been on?
I'm joking. I think maybe like 3.
Out of all the podcasts you've been on, which one's been your favorite?
I think there was one that I did with, I think it was Johnny. We talked about Gen Z.
Oh.
I really liked that one. That was
I'm
really
working on the
interesting.
stats for our podcast listenership over the last couple of years. And that, believe it or not, will be in the top 10 as far as listenership.
Whoa. Yeah. Invite me on more often.
So who was it? Was it you or Johnny that caused the spike in listenership?
Well, for sure me.
Okay, good.
So.
And then we also have the former Rachel Beals, now Rachel Winfield. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
How many times have you been on the podcast?
Once. It was about episode 7, I'm pretty sure. And you've never invited me back.
Uh-oh.
That was, for the longest time, the one with you and Elijah was by far the most listened to podcast that we've ever had.
I know. I've been waiting for you to invite me back.
This is Rachel's big break.
This is my moment.
So as long as you don't mess up, there might be a third time. So,
okay.
Well, we're doing this expansion project. Both of you are getting new offices. Rachel's moving into Morgan's former office. Claire's moving into Di's former office. I'm moving upstairs. Ooh. I'm going full-on Western theme with my office. Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a bullhead skull that's going in my office. I have all these cowboy pictures. Everything's live edge. I'm super pumped about the way it's going to look. I think it's going to be cool.
Are you going to have sheepskin or like bear skin or something?
I have cowhide that's going down in the floor of my study. So Lindsay Lamb has been helping me. She got really excited when she heard that I was doing a Western theme. I was really worried that she was going to mock me to no end, but I got the Lindsay approval.
Wow.
That's that. I've even had, my daughter, for example, would see things I was buying and said, that's actually pretty nice.
Well, I was just very impressed that you made your own Pinterest board for your office. I didn't even know you knew how to do that.
Well, that was an encouragement from your mom because I kept having to screenshot pictures of furniture and send it to people. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And so your mom was like, make a Pinterest. So I do have a Pinterest for my study in my office.
What's your handle? By Pastor?
I honestly don't remember.
Nobody can look you up.
We will, if you're interested in my office decor Pinterest, we will put that in the show notes afterwards.
That is crazy.
That's amazing.
I don't think I've looked at my Pinterest in a month.
Oh.
But because we've already bought everything. I still need an armoire because I was told by Heather Lane that the current armoire that we use is out. That she thinks
I don't even think I know what an armoire is.
Yeah.
It's basically like a closet where I have all my really nice dress clothes that I wear at church sit here on Sunday.
So all your jerseys?
It's pretty much my sport coats and some of my nicest shoes and stuff like that and other outfits. No, those jerseys, I keep them at home because somebody will steal them if they're here. So anyways, I've had lots of fun decorating my office. It's really been a kick. I do want to say just a shout out to Master Woodworking out of Moscow, Idaho. The owner of that attends our Palouse campus, and he got really excited about my office, and he is building my built-in bookshelves in my study.
Wow.
He is also building my new conference table, and he's building my desk all Western themed.
Whoa.
He's taken on it as his personal art project, and I'm really excited.
That's really cool.
Shout out to him. He should become a future sponsor.
Wow.
I'm going to reach out and ask him if he wants to be. But I want to know what you guys are going to do with your offices. So, Claire, you're about to get an office that's 3 times the size of your current one.
It's huge. Well, I haven't thought about it at all because I just found out I'm getting that office. So
Would you like all my old office furniture?
Yeah.
Like the bookshelves in the
Hey,
study?
I actually just bought a standing desk for the first time, and it's transformed my life. So I'll definitely be taking that into my new office. Other than that, like, do you have any advice? I literally don't know. Should I paint the walls? Do a
Raider.
mural? Oh my
Let's go
God.
full
Oh,
on
no.
Raider theme. I'll provide all the memorabilia.
Okay.
I want it back.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That seems very fitting to
It's
Claire.
super fitting for me because I love the Raiders. I love sports. I specifically love football. So yeah, that'll be awesome. No, I think I need furniture in there that isn't a hand-me-down from Tony and Ariel. I think that's my only goal because
Do you want furniture that's a hand-me-down
Okay.
from Brandon?
Sure, but it has to be like I want your couch in your office. I'll take that.
That is my own personal couch.
Okay,
Like,
well,
literally.
I want it.
No, that is staying as the pastor's
Okay,
lounge prayer room before the service. No, it'd be everything in my study. You can have any of it.
Oh, I don't.
You don't want my desk?
No, I have a standing desk from Wayfair.
What about those
From Wayfair.
glass bookshelves that
I don't have that many
Those-
books. I have like 7. Sorry, but
Wow, denied.
So I do want a new, like a really cute chair and like a cute rug.
you can have my desk chair.
Okay,
Which is far from cute.
That's not what people sit on when they want to come and be prayed over by me.
Yeah, my chairs that you sit on there are my UW wood chairs, and I want those.
Okay, yeah, you can have those. So basically, what we're getting at is I do not want any of your office furniture, but thank you. You should sell it on Facebook Marketplace.
What about the fake plants? Do you want those that
I-
Heather Lane bought for me? You can
I
have
would
those.
take those.
You
I
get
don't know
those.
what they look
All
like.
right. All right, that'll be my donation.
Wow. you.
So, Rachel, you are moving to Morgan's old office.
I am. I'm.
What are your
honest-
plans? Are you going to keep the big metal pipe shelf that he built in there?
He did ask me if I wanted to keep it, mostly because I think he didn't want to have to take it down. And I politely declined because it's not really my vibe. I'm honestly just excited to not have a giant fishbowl window anymore where everybody like presses their face up against it while they're walking by and distracts me while I'm working. And then I'm also excited to just have more room because anytime we have an event at the church, I have like boxes stacked up to the ceiling.
Literally.
And you can't even walk in there. So like having room to put
Yeah.
those things will be nice. I want to make it like cozy. That's what I'm going to go for. Cozy. I want people to want to come sit in there and hang out. So that's my goal.
We could have matching offices, like by matching furniture and paintings.
That would be
and-
very fun.
Well, I want to do a competition.
Oh, well,
You guys both do your offices, and
Gonna
then
put us against
I
each
get
other.
to
Who's funding
judge
this?
whose I like
Yeah.
better.
Are you going to fund?
Crate and Barrel. If that's my budget, then I'll win. She can have the Wayfair budget.
All right, I will
Amazon.
give you guys a budget.
Ooh, whoa. Okay. Now I'm excited.
I don't know if it's going to be an exciting budget. There
Well-
will be a lot of thrifting.
That's okay.
Oh, that's easy. Yeah.
What do you guys think about my thrifting discoveries right here? These
There.
these are both going to my office. I went to a thrift store, found these. I was looking for some Western decor. You got the cowboy riding the horse that's trying to
Horse.
avoid the rattlesnake,
Oh.
and then you have the guy mining for gold.
Yeah. They're very unique.
I think Di is just happy that it's not in your house.
Yeah.
So
Well, Di is about to go to our place in Vegas. In fact, she's on her way there right now.
Oh, no.
Her and Jen Arment and a few of our staff are going to a conference in Vegas. Di is about to go into our condo and see where I've been hoarding all the Western things.
Oh, no.
Oh, 2 gargantuan statues,
Oh.
a cigar store Indian who's about this tall, a huge picture about like this.
Wait.
It's all just sitting in the
So
condo.
you've just had your stuff shipped there
No, because I thrift it. So
in Vegas? You've thrifted?
Vegas has
Oh.
the greatest thrift stores, and because it's Nevada, that's kind of like the Old West.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
true.
Lots of Western themed stuff, and they have the greatest thrift stores. So whenever I'm in Vegas, I go thrifting.
I cannot imagine you thrifting at all.
I know, me either.
I would
What-
love to
is
go
it
to
like a
Value Village with you.
Yeah, is it like a vintage store or like a Goodwill?
Oh, I wouldn't go to a Goodwill. No,
Okay, that's
yeah.
why.
they're full on vintage.
Yeah.
It's like an antique store.
It's like old, iconic. No, it's called like the Las Vegas Antique Mall. It's kind of a famous thing. There's 2 huge ones, but I go there every time I'm in Vegas. I go.
Wow.
I know they open at 11. I'm there right when they open. Go through. I know I can negotiate.
Oh my
I look for the stuff that I want.
He's committed.
Hey, looks like
Yes.
Rachel and I are taking a trip to Vegas.
Yeah.
The stuff is pretty.
Good
It's
point.
pretty epic. Yeah. Anyways, that's embarrassing to even talk about. Hey, I want to bug you guys about a couple things because you're girls.
We are. That we are.
So it means you watch girl shows,
We do.
and you guys are also friends.
We
Kind
are.
of.
So you watch things together.
Sometimes.
So
Last night.
did you guys end up watching the Summer I Turned Pretty?
Oh,
finale?
Of
yeah.
course, yeah.
So what did you guys think? I haven't watched the finale. I tried watching the TV show, but I couldn't make it through the second season.
Oh, that's such a
The second
And
disappointment.
season
I
is a
already
lull.
know the end because people have spoiled it for me a million times.
Well, yeah,
So
you're
what did
like-
you guys think about the end?
I loved the show altogether. It was such a cute show. I was totally captivated by it. I, throughout the whole show, was Team Jeremiah.
She's weird.
Me too.
Oh, wow.
What?
Because I found out in real life he is a super strong Christian.
Oh, no.
You and him have something
You
in
just
common.
unlocked something. Yeah. Let's just say that I may or may not have sent Rachel about a 15-minute audio message telling her that I think I'm Team Jeremiah simply because I know about him in real life.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Very strong
That is,
Christian.
no, I know. I like watch all of his vlogs. I know probably
Yep.
too much about him because I'm like so inspired that he's a Christian in Hollywood. So I think
It does-
that,
it-
yeah. And he's
It doesn't hurt that he's sort of cute,
No.
too. But you have eyes for no one else other
Yeah.
than Nolan. so.
But he is like genuinely strong in his faith, and I think that unfortunately swayed me during the show because I liked him, and then I saw Conrad in real life, and I was like, he's
A tool?
not Tool, he's just like weird. I don't know, he's just a weird guy.
Well, the fact that you like Jeremiah, you're already in the lead for who has a better office. So
No,
That's
okay,
crazy.
well, I just need to say that I think Claire is, and apparently you, are the only two people that I know that are Team Jeremiah. Everyone,
Conrad's too mopey.
who cares? We're all Team Conrad. We were rooting for them. They were each other's first love
It's true.
forever.
Yeah.
It
Why
was like meant to be.
Why do girls like the mopey sad guy?
That's what I think too.
I think
was-
Versus
Jeremiah-
the fun, exciting guy.
No, Jeremiah turned into the mopey sad guy in like half of season 3.
His
Jeremiah-
mom died.
So did
They
Conrad.
sold their life house. He went from being this
It was
joyful.
Conrad's mom too.
Also,
and
can I
his
say?
girlfriend cheated on him for his brother.
Well,
Same with
Jeremiah's
Conrad.
Also, yeah, Conrad too. Jeremiah reminds me a lot of Elijah. Whenever I was like, sorry, he just kind of has that same personality, kind of like
That's so
like
funny.
a puppy.
Like a puppy?
Yeah, like he's
Oh,
always like happy.
I
and-
guarantee Elijah's listening too, so shout out to you, Elijah.
Yeah,
So let's use the boys in the room. So we have Dallas here. Is Dallas a Conrad or a Jeremiah?
I watched the first episode. I
yeah.
watched the single episode.
No, but I want to know. What do you guys think? Is he a Conrad or a Jeremiah?
Who is?
I think he's a Jeremiah.
Who's a Conrad?
Dallas.
Yeah, you're a Jeremiah for sure.
Yeah.
What about Josh? Our
You're
new
definitely a Conrad.
new-
100% Conrad.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we got Conrad, Jeremiah. Okay.
yeah. Don't read into that, but
Party right now.
Summer I Turned Pretty. It's over. What are you guys watching now? What's the big thing
Oh,
now?
we're watching Dancing with the
the
Stars.
Stars.
That's what we're watching together. We have a bracket with several other girls in the church.
Yeah.
And we picked the teams that we thought, this is like our fantasy football.
it is.
And we picked the
Yeah.
teams, the couples that we thought would make it to the end.
Well, it's our fantasy football, except none of us, especially me, knew anything about the couple. So it's different than fantasy football because we went into it very blind. So already, my top 3 people have basically gotten voted off. So I'm
that
losing.
is true. So Claire's going to lose.
Yeah.
But that's
So
okay.
how much money do you have on the
We
line?
put nothing in because none of us
1,000.
want to
So it's
lose
just
anything.
bragging rights.
Yep,
Yes.
correct. So
Wait, I thought we did have a prize that like we were gonna buy people the winner dinner or something.
yeah, sure, we'll probably do that.
So did you? I know you watched Big Brother. Are you a Big Brother fan?
Oh yeah, I watched.
So what did you think of the Big Brother finale, Rachel?
I personally, I was not. I think they title the people that didn't watch the live feeds the casuals. So I was a casual.
Okay.
I
So you
did
don't
not watch
really
the
know what
feeds.
was going
Is that
on.
what JoJo Siwa was in? Big Brother?
I have no idea. No, I don't think
Wait,
so.
Never heard that
what
name
was the
before.
show? Oh,
Yeah, 'cause that's a no.
No one in this room knows what I'm talking about. She was just in a reality TV show.
Who's
Okay, not a
JoJo
clue.
Seawalk?
Oh, don't even.
That was crazy. Anyways, just continue with your Big Brother talk.
Well, anyways, that's so funny. I am a casual because I don't have time to watch live feeds 24/7, and I don't really understand who does. But regardless, I was not a fan of Ashley for that reason, because I thought she did nothing, because I think that's what the show painted her to be, was just kind of a bump on a log. So her winning actually really infuriated me, but the other option was Vince, and I despised him. So actually, this season was just kind of a wash for me.
Okay.
I was happy about Keanu winning America's Favorite Player.
Yeah, I think the live feeds and people watching it live would have wanted Keanu or Rachel to win. The editing painted Vince much better than Vince was even on the live feeds.
Oh,
on the
wow.
live feeds, he
Nice.
cried. He, whether you think he was cheating on his 7-year girlfriend or not, no girl is ever going to be okay with her boyfriend
Nope.
acting towards another girl the way he did. So he was pretty much pawn slime to people that were on the live feeds. Pretty much live feeders knew that Morgan was running the game, period.
Yeah.
But we also knew that Ashley was an attorney and wasn't telling anybody about it.
Yeah.
So do you know how amazing it is to be in a house with people for 80 days and play dumb?
That's fair. Okay.
Like, she isn't just an attorney. I'm pretty sure it's either Columbia or Harvard educated attorney.
Georgetown.
Yeah, okay, Georgetown. So it's like one of the best law firms, law schools in the world.
Okay, but
And she played dumb.
I feel as though lawyers should not even be allowed on those shows, because by the time that she made it to the end, she obviously was going to out-talk and convince everyone of her opinion, because that's literally her job. So that felt a little unfair. It was like he also is like unemployed and clearly not very intelligent, based on not saying unemployed people are not intelligent, but there was a correlation for him. He was terrible at convincing the jury. So it's like he didn't do himself any favors, but she extra talked circles around him because
teed it
she's a
up.
lawyer.
Her whole goal was, I'm going to be friends with everybody, make it to the end. We all saw it coming.
Yeah.
If she made it to the end, because we knew she was going to drop the big bomb, because she would have private confessionals with just the fans on the live feed. So we knew what her plan was. She had told fans a month ahead of time what she was going to do.
Maybe I should have been a live feeder then, and I would have respected her game more.
Other things that people don't realize about Vince is a college graduate, and he played college baseball.
Okay.
Vince
Whoa.
is not like just a bump on the log. He is chosen to be a bump on the log. But he is very capable of being gainfully employed. All right. Anyways, just curious. Do you guys watch Netflix cheesy movies at all?
Sometimes.
Depends.
Have you guys seen Wrong Paris?
Yeah.
I already know Claire has. I have not.
I started watching it, I got halfway through, and then I got bored and turned it off. But yeah. Okay. It's really bad.
I watched it.
Okay, how
2
did you
nights
like
ago.
it? Was it good?
It actually made me teary-eyed.
Oh my gosh. That's what Tyler Patrick said too. That's so
I
funny.
might have just been in the mood. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it was really great premise. The premise is that they think that they're going to Paris for a dating show, Paris, France, and it ends up being Paris, Texas, and they get off the plane and it's like
What?
literally like this rinky-dink town, and then, she falls in love with like the bachelor, and then the rest is history.
So my hot take on this is I think the girl in Wrong Paris is much more charming
Yeah,
than
than
the
Belly.
girl in The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Miranda
is the-
Cosgrove.
What?
Isn't
It was
that her name?
Miranda Cosgrove?
Yeah, isn't that her name, the girl from iCarly?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's the Wrong Paris actress.
I never watched iCarly, so.
Yes,
weird.
Miranda Cosgrove is absolutely adorable, but I also think that Lola Tung, the girl who plays Belly, is really cute too.
Yeah, I want to be careful. I'm sure she has an extraordinary personality, but you have
Yeah.
two absolutely stunningly handsome men
That
pining
is true.
over a very
funny.
average girl.
I hope Lola Tung doesn't listen to this podcast.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the topic at hand.
so funny.
This right here is an absolutely stellar example of what I want to talk about. We work at a church. Historically, working in this environment is a very male-dominated profession, except for admin. Occasionally you have a female bookkeeper and you have female admin, but for the most part, for years, working at a church was very male-dominated. Obviously, we're Assemblies of God. we believe in female ministers. Even though most AG churches say they believe in women in leadership, they don't have it. Venture is different. With the level of leadership that my wife has had, your mom has had, your future office persons, you're replacing her. We've always had really strong female leadership from Nicole Butcher. Our first worship leader was Angela Smith. It's been in our history since we started. Leslie Davis was on staff as our kids pastor, a really strong female leader. That's just been in our DNA from the beginning. But what I want to talk about today is I actually want to get serious and talk about the dynamic of what it's like to be a woman working in, whether we say this or not, has been historically a man's profession. The dynamic of being married, having husbands who are professionals, also very career-oriented, and that dynamic. For most men that become ministers, work at a church, our wives know what they're getting themselves into to begin with. They're ready for that. Now again, Di was always kind of unique to begin with, that she didn't go to Bible college thinking, I want to be a pastor's wife. I just want to get my MRS degree and find a pastor, get married and be done and drop out and have babies. That wasn't Di. It wasn't originally in our plans that she was going to end up a minister. So kind of similar to your guys' journey, it wasn't her plan to begin with. She decided later on in her 20s that she wanted to be a minister, and it's kind of led to what it is now. But I would love to hear your guys' perspective. I'd love to hear our listeners know what it's like to sit in your guys' chair or wear your shoes, whatever metaphor you want to use. So let's start with this. Claire, how long have you been working at the church?
5 years.
So you can be honest here. Was it ever your plan that you were going to be working at the church?
I would love to hear your answer for me, because I bet you could answer that for me.
Well, I had a plan for you, yes.
Yeah,
I always felt like
PB had a plan.
you were gifted, anointed in leadership, and that this was going to be a natural outcome for you. So it's, of course, not surprising to me that this ended up happening and that you ended up being very good at it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm laughing because I came to Pastor Brandon, I think, 2 times and told him, like, hey, I don't really think this is for me, and kind of wanted to go elsewhere with my life. So, no, it was definitely not my plan originally at all, but I've loved it. And, like, it's very, very clear to me that this was exactly where I was supposed to be over the last several years of my life. I have learned so much and grown so much as a person. So it clearly was not in the Lord's plan to have me go be a teacher, which I tried to do, or go be a therapist because I have my degree in psychology or anything like that. Like, this is where I was supposed to be.
Well, what about you, Rachel? You took a little bit of a different path to get to this point. You were a firstborn PK. Probably everybody thought you were going to go to Northwest University.
Yeah, true.
Yet your father really strongly encouraged you to go to UW.
No, I never want. This is aggressive to say, but I never wanted to go to Northwest. I'm so sorry. What is it? Falcons? Falcons up? Well,
Eagles.
No, it's
Talons
Eagles.
up.
Oh, Talons.
It's Talons up.
See, it's showing that I'm not a Northwest graduate. Yeah, I never wanted to go to Northwest. This is my stubbornness speaking, but from like when I was young, was always adamant that I would never work at the church. I think I just like wanted to do something different than what everyone expected me to do. Everyone just kind of expected, because I was super involved in the church growing up and in youth ministry and even as a young adult. And so I think the expectation was that I would just like follow in my family's footsteps and come on staff immediately after graduating, or go to Northwest and then work at the church. And I was so stubborn and said, I will never do that because it's what people expect me to do. And I didn't feel like it was a calling on my life at that time. I actually went and pursued teaching. I was a teacher for 5 years. And
I think for our listeners, she got a degree from UW. I don't even remember what the degree was. Basically, it was leading towards being a teacher. She got her master's in teaching from UW. So, I mean, she was about as certified teacher? What do they call it?
yeah, I was as qualified as you can get to be a teacher. Yeah.
In the higher pay scale for a teacher because of your master's. And you taught for 5 years.
I did. Yeah. And I just have to say, shout out to the teachers out there because it is seriously, I think, one of the hardest, most undervalued professions out there. And
teaching has changed dramatically with the various political influences on the public school system.
True.
And so it's forced teachers that might have completely different views and be very dogmatic about them to encourage perspectives and views that they do not hold at all, that's contrary even to their faith. And it's kind of a bummer that it's kind of veered away from let's just educate into let's not only educate, but let's get into all these social issues with our first graders.
Yeah. I will say I feel like I was grateful that I worked at a school where there were a lot of Christians on staff, and my principal, who is the leader of the school, was a strong Christian. And so I never felt like forced to teach something I didn't believe in. But that being said, I definitely was not allowed to talk about what I did believe in. So yeah, I wasn't like forced to share things that maybe I didn't align with, but I still was like silenced in a sense, which makes sense. But I think that's been a very cool thing in now working at the church is I feel so like I can just be who I am. I can talk about my faith because that's the biggest part of my life. And that's like what I should be doing working here. And so it's the complete opposite of being a teacher. But
so just so that none of our listeners think, well, this is because her dad convinced her to quit teaching and come and work at the church. No. So just to put all of our listeners at ease, that so those that are worried that I'm just a manipulator, father.
Yeah, all of those.
Explain
people.
what led, as briefly as you can, to quitting there and coming to the church.
It was in the middle of my 5th year of teaching. I had kind of like a rocky road with being a teacher. COVID happened my first year. There were just like a lot of things that happened that made it extra hard for somebody new in the profession. And then on top of that, I started a new grade. I started teaching 2nd grade my 5th year, and my class was very difficult. I felt very unsupported. I was very isolated. I was just overall very miserable. And I came home from work one day, and my husband, Ben, was just like, you don't have to stay doing something that you hate, right? Like, you don't have to stay doing a career when you're literally miserable. And that was the freedom that I needed. So I did the very untraditional thing as a teacher and quit in the middle of the school year, which was very dramatic and a long process. But it was clearly the Lord opening a door at the church, because the day that I quit actually like turned in my 2 weeks at the school. I texted my parents, Brandon and Di, and said, if there's ever a position open at the church, I'm just like throwing anything out there to hope I can get a job, because I needed to work. If there's ever a job at the church available, let me know, because I'd be interested. And I sent a few other texts to a few other people too that had connections. And ironically, Nicole Butcher had resigned that exact same day, her position, to pursue something else. And so it was just like everything kind of aligned perfectly. The doors opened where I felt like that was where God was leading me. And it was clearly God, because I had always said I would never work here, and the doors opened, and that's where I felt like I should go. So
just one other thing for our listeners that are thinking, oh, as soon as Rachel wanted to do that job, PB just hired her. Yeah. Where I was actively involved in recruiting and hiring Claire, I stepped completely out of the process, and Morgan and Christian were the ones that were involved in hiring Rachel. Just for clarity
Yeah.
purposes. So you've been working at the church now. We're going on
Almost 2 years.
2 years. Claire, 5 years. So what have you found, Claire, are the biggest challenges working at a church because of your gender? Or have you found any?
I feel like the biggest thing is just, I don't know if I've actually had like major issues because of my gender. Like I feel like when I tell people I work at a church, then I don't really get any weird responses. I would say the biggest thing is just sometimes when I'm, like yesterday I was at the dentist and I told my dental hygienist, she asked what I do for work and I said, oh, I work at a church. And there's always that moment where somebody's like, oh, a church. And like, I think there is that disconnect of being a woman who works at a church, especially when I tell them I'm a pastor too. That's the other level of like, oh, pastor at a church. Because I think people just assume that if I work at a church, like you said, I'm like doing bookkeeping or at administrative positions, which are...
Or working in the preschool.
Or working, yeah, exactly. I'm a kids director. But I think that's been the only weird thing that I would say people just are like always, people outside of the church are always confused when I tell them that I'm a pastor at a church because they usually have never heard of women being pastors. Yeah, but honestly, I don't know if maybe it's that I haven't been in ministry long enough, but I would say that because I'm at a church that supports women in ministry so much that within the church, I've never had any issue of like, oh, I feel like I'm not respected, or I feel like the other members on staff think that they're better than me. Like David thinks he's better than me because he's a man or something like that. Like I feel like all of our staff members are just so respectful of that. And we've almost trained the congregation, like this is who we are. And even at Discover, we tell our people like, this is who we are. And if you don't agree with it, this is probably not the right church for you because this is what we believe. So yeah, honestly, I don't think I've had any negative experiences with gender.
What's been interesting kind of in Diane, my journey with ministry, number one, we didn't know, I didn't know there was such thing as a Reformed church. Mm-hmm. I mean, I got saved in high school, went right to Bible college, right in my first AG youth ministry job. Di has always been a partner in ministry, was always embraced, arguably liked more than me at all the churches that I worked at. And then we went to Modesto, and it was the same thing. I mean, Pastor Bertot's wife, Debbie, was on staff, was referred to as Pastor Debbie. We had multiple female pastors on staff. Yeah. So I didn't even know it was an issue. We started Venture. The first time it became an issue was like year 3, and there was a contingent of really solid families around our age who had kids the same age as us, who were all from Reformed, more that type of background. And that was the first time we found out it was weird. Mm-hmm. And that we found out that it actually bothered some people that were highly religious. So it's I'm glad that it is not in the DNA for it to be an issue at all in the makeup.
And I don't think that I like, I'm not like traveling around speaking to other churches and I'm like really involved in, I don't know. I just feel like because this is my home church and this is where I've grown up, I just know in my heart, like this is
everybody loves you, everybody's for you.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
So what have you found, Rach, is a huge difference between working in a secular job and working for the church? Like, what would you say are the biggest differences?
Everything.
Besides, obviously, you can talk about Jesus here,
right.
But I'm more interested in the dynamic of working here.
Well, I mean, I literally could probably list about 20 things that are very different. First of all, I was a teacher, so I was in an extremely female-dominated career. It was all women. I think I actually worked with about 3 men, and 2 of them were the principal and the assistant principal. So it was like all women, which...
So there's lots of crying.
Yeah, and just cattiness, like a lot of cattiness and drama and gossip and girls being mean and cliques and all of that comes with women, unfortunately. So... I mean, a huge difference at working at the church is I am getting to work with people that are all like-minded, and we're all coming from like the same place with the same desire, with the same mission and the same goal.
And there's boys.
There's boys, and we're all on the same team. Whereas sometimes working in the secular workplace, it kind of feels like every man for themselves. You're trying to climb the ladder. You're trying to push other people beneath you to be better than them. Like, you're not as much in an environment where you're trying to genuinely just work together because you're all on the same mission. And I think it was extremely apparent to me my first month of working at the church. Ben broke his arm, which like was just an arm break. So it wasn't like this horrible tragedy that happened to me, but still it was like a hard thing that him and I were walking through. And immediately like the staff would pray for me when I would walk into the office to work, or they would be like, it's okay if you need to like just work from your computer in the hospital room or whatever you need to do. Like, your family comes first. And so it was like, yes, we all like believe the same things, but we also all value the same things, and we value family, and we value relationship. And that would never have been the case as a teacher. That's just it. That would have never happened.
You wouldn't have even told your teacher friends that you were like going through anything.
No,
or it wasn't really like a safe environment for you to do that.
Not at all. And you would not. People would probably pat you on the back and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," but like, you would not be free to like prioritize the things that were the most important to you, because I guess, working in ministry, obviously this is like, it's ingrained in our lives a lot more than just like working a job where you just show up, clock in, clock out. Like, working in ministry, it's a part of who we are. You're getting calls outside of work hours. You're doing things outside of work hours that weighs heavy on your heart sometimes. But at the same time, like, the priorities that we have working here align a lot more with what I believe. Like, the priority is like your relationship with the Lord, your family, like, and then your work, like what you produce. So
you guys, even within women that are in leadership at a church, you guys are unique. Primarily because most women that are in leadership at a church, their husband also works at the church too.
Yeah, that's true.
And historically in our dynamic, it's been that way at Venture. But Nolan is kind of beginning his career. Also, he's got kind of his like wannabe rock star side too.
True.
And Ben is like very established in his career in the direction that he's going. What challenges does it have when your husbands have, careers outside of the church, which means their schedules are different?
Yeah.
Because for us, the Sunday is
The Super Bowl.
the Super Bowl. And to a person that works a secular job, Sunday is the day off.
Yeah.
And not that way here.
Yeah.
When you travel on the weekends and
So Claire, how's that been?
Oh my
challenge?
gosh,
Or are you
yeah.
just used to it now?
I definitely used to it by now, but I've talked about this so much because also it's not just with Nolan, it's also with all of my friends too.
Yep.
So, I mean, specifically with Nolan, Rachel and I have talked about this a lot too, because when she first started working at the church, she was realizing that like there was a lot of expectation on Ben to like be at a lot of things and be at events. And I remember it was some event, maybe like a vision dinner or something, and like multiple people kept coming up to Rachel and being like, "Where's Ben? Where's Ben? Where's Ben?" And finally she was like, "He doesn't work here. He's just not here. He's probably running a 100-mile race or something." And so I think that is the most difficult thing, is like the expectation that sometimes people place on the spouse when like my husband's very, very busy.
So the same type of expectation they put on a pastor's wife, they put on a pastor's husband.
Yes,
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
But like for me, I don't know. I never put that on to Nolan. I'm always like, you can come to this if you want, but you don't have to. 9 out of 10 times he'll come, but also he's not paid to be here. So like if he wants to travel on a Sunday and go somewhere, he can do that. He doesn't have to be here.
So I want you guys to be able to answer very honestly. And again, we do this unedited, so it's not like you're going to answer it and I'm going to tell Josh to edit it. Do you feel like I impose that type of pressure on Nolan?
No, not at all. No, it's more like there's the vibe. I don't even know if you've ever asked me where Nolan is. It's like, I feel like there's been times where like multiple random staff members or random volunteers who maybe think that Nolan is working at the church or something have just been like, where's Nolan? And they love him. So it's like, it means nothing. But it's like, I know that Nolan's felt that pressure sometimes too of like, oh, I need to be at all these events or something. I would say schedule wise, obviously he works Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and I work Sunday to Thursday, 9 to 5. So, Saturdays that we get together are like really precious. Like we just have to be more intentional about our time together. Traveling's obviously weird because we have different days off. But yeah, I just think that you get to a certain point where you're like, this is just how it is. He's never going to work at a church. So for me, this is just how our life is. And honestly, it's not that hard. Like I don't feel like any part of it's hard. And I kind of like that he's not involved because it gives me the opportunity to like...
You don't have to talk about it.
No, I never have to talk about it at work. I can if I want, and he's a great listening ear, and he gives me really great, like, unbiased advice, but I never have to, like... If I just want to decompress after work, I'm not, like, going home to somebody who also is, like...
talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
I have to... Because now that Rachel's on staff and Judah was on staff.
Your whole family.
And Elijah wants to be on staff. And my dad now leads a major area of the church. So we would do like a family function. And I have to literally say, I don't want to talk about the church. Like I am not talking about the church now.
Yeah.
Primarily with my dad. He's the main one. But that is...
it's like an easy topic of conversation.
Yeah.
When Di and I first started working at BCA, she was a counselor at Olympic View Middle School. And we had a weird schedule at BCA where we were guaranteed 1 day off a week, and we were given 3 floating days a month. So if there was a 5 Saturday month, I had to work 2 of those Saturdays, but I'd take 3 off, type of deal. And my day off was Thursday.
Whoa, that's
so
crazy.
It had no connection to Di's whatsoever. And again, she always had Saturday and Sunday off, and so those were unique.
I also feel like with our friends, because none of Rachel and I's friends work at a church, it's just very funny because like obviously things happen Saturday nights, and I try to be in bed by like 9 p.m. on Saturday night. All travel with our friends it's always even before Rachel was working at the church, is constantly me with my family, with my friends being like, can't do that, have to be at church. They're like, why can't you just take a Sunday off? And I'm like, I only get a few of those a year. Can't take a Sunday off.
Nolan gets those 3 a year. Yes.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Like you guys, Di and I had tons of couple friends when we first started in ministry that didn't work at the church. And I think you guys have done a much better job navigating that, maintaining those friendships, figuring it out. I think your friends, most of your friends are pretty actively involved in a church. Yeah. So they at least understand that dynamic. It really, I would say, led to probably over a couple year period of time that Di and I didn't hang out with our non-work at church friends because they just didn't understand our schedule. Yeah. And again, because I wasn't even guaranteed to get a Saturday off, and Di didn't get Fridays off, so we only had Saturday. Yeah. We couldn't go camping on the weekends, which is what everybody did. I was never able to do that. We couldn't do weekend trips. Even if we had the time off, again, finances are different nowadays in the church. Like you guys get paid way better in comparison to the way I did back then, but I didn't make enough money to be able to do anything anyway.
Right. It's true.
So it was always really challenging. How has the dynamic been for you and Ben?
Well, I think with Ben and I, because I worked in a secular job first, we had more to compare it to because I worked a job where we did have the same schedule, like we did have the same weekends, so we love to travel. So we would take at least 1 weekend trip a month when I was working as a teacher. So I think it's actually been a harder transition because we have something to compare it to, like what it used to be like kind of thing. But
it's probably easier. I mean, Ben used to be able to telecommute, now he can't.
Yeah.
So he could adjust his weekend to coincide with yours at first, but now he can't.
Yeah, he still can a little bit, but it is a little bit more challenging. So I think the hardest part for us is just like being able to spend time together. But like Claire said, you just have to prioritize the 1 day a week where you have it off together. And then the other thing has definitely, I echo what she said. The questions of where he is and the expectation put on him because he works a job where he works 60 hours a week and like he needs his weekends to recharge. So he's not like maybe going to be serving every single Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like he doesn't have to be at church all day on Sunday. Like
Yeah.
I'm happy when he's just attending with me because he's pouring so much of himself out the rest of the week that he should be filled up at church. That should be where he's filled for now. And I know that that will change as time goes on. But yeah, I definitely think the scheduling thing is the hardest. But I also think with our friends, even it's funny now there's like, I don't even have to advocate for myself anymore.
Yeah.
I need to be back by Sunday. It's like an expectation. Everybody knows, like, oh, if we're planning a trip, we have to be back Saturday night for Claire and Rachel. Like, that's just a known thing. So it's nice to have people in your corner that, like, know your schedule and they're not going to plan things that they know you can't come to because that's just the way it works out for them. They're like trying to work around you. So
There is another stereotype for women that are in leadership at a church as it pertains to their husbands, which is that their husbands, and I'm not saying that this is an accurate stereotype or a wrong one. I'm just saying it is in a lot of settings that a female leader usually has a weak husband, like a more passive husband.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And the one thing that I would not ever say about either of your husbands is that they are weak people whatsoever. They're strong leaders, both in their own right. They're both very driven, very focused. They're not,
Passive. Yeah.
they're not passive.
we do not walk all over our husbands. That's for sure.
Definitely.
So tell me this. I'll start with Claire. If you were giving advice to like an 18, 19-year-old gal feels really called into ministry, what would you say would be like the one or two biggest challenges she has to prepare herself for with that?
That's a good question. I would say, well, be prepared that I think, well, with anyone, I don't know if specifically this is for females, but just be prepared because you are young. I think a lot of what I noticed because I spent my last role here was as the intern director, so I spent a lot of time around college students. And what I noticed the most from young people, specifically guys, but also this can pertain to women who want to be in ministry, is that they go in very excited and very ready when they like graduate college, and they are very, very immature and have a lot to learn, as I was too at that age. And I think a lot of young people lack humility and and kind of just have a lot of pride because they just graduated college and they, have this degree and they want to use it, and they, just interned for a while. So they kind of think they know best, but really they're working with so many people that are very much more seasoned than them. So I feel like the first piece of advice I would just give to any young person, but, specifically to a young girl, is like, okay, get ready. Like, if this is what you want to do, be ready to be humble because you're going to learn a lot. And even if you have this 4-year degree from Northwest University, it does not mean that you know best. Mm-hmm. So just be ready to like be corrected and be, humbled and learn a lot. And then I would say like a second piece of advice is just, as like a woman, also be prepared that depending on the church that you attend, you will not...
You might have a ceiling.
Yeah, you might have a ceiling. You might not be in the role that you really desire to be in. And so I would say obviously you can't choose where you get hired, but be really careful. If you're a woman who wants to be a pastor specifically, be really careful about doing your research on the churches that you're applying to and making sure that if you want to be a pastor, you're at a church that supports that. If that's not important to you to have the title pastor and you just want to be a director, there are so many churches that can support that. But I would say, like, just be prepared as a woman who wants to go into ministry that there are not many churches who call women pastors and believe in that. And maybe I could be wrong, but it feels like there's not many in our state. Maybe there's a lot, but...
there's a lot of AG churches. It just so happens that in our circle here.
Yeah.
If you think of the handful of mega churches here,
Yeah.
they're pretty much 50-50.
Right. So I would say that's my biggest thing is just like be prepared to do your research on the church and know that it's not going to be easy always being a woman.
I think even, it doesn't matter, male, female, young leaders are always really idealistic whenever they work at a church, but not all churches are equal, and not all churches embrace young leadership as much as other churches understand young leadership. You find out really quickly, like, again, when I first worked at BCA, they were great and really, they embraced me a lot there. But there was no one within 15 years of my age on staff.
Yeah.
So that was weird. And they weren't understanding of my youthfulness. It was expected that I would mature very quickly.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because this is kind of all I've ever known in ministry. I've never worked at another church. And so I don't think I realized that's how it was at a lot of other churches until I started getting together at like these network meetings or, pastor huddles meetings type things. And I'm like, oh, everyone who's in my position is literally like 15 years older than me. So I've found it really awesome working at Venture because all of my coworkers are my age.
Yeah.
So I love it. Obviously, it's half and half. There's a ton of coworkers that are my age, but a lot of people are,
Even if we're older, we're immature.
Yeah,
we have your level of maturity.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
No, I agree.
So, yeah.
What about you, Rach? What advice would you give someone?
I mean, I too feel like I don't really have a lot of advice in terms of like being a woman. Mine more so has to do with like being young on staff and like in a role where you are also working with a lot of people in the church that are older than you or in a different season of life. So my first piece of advice would be like, if you truly feel like working at a church is your calling and like being in ministry is your calling, sometimes God opens a door of a position that's not like your first pick. And that's like walk through the door, I guess.
Yeah.
Because the example I would give would be with myself. Like I'm the marketing and communications director here. And that's like my main role. And I have no experience in marketing. Like I did not go to school for that. I'm learning just as much in this role as I possibly could. And so that would have been maybe not the first thing that I would have expected the first position I would have expected God to put me in here.
Kids pastor?
Honestly, that
Preschool
would have
director.
made more sense in terms of like what I had been doing before. But I love it. And so I just feel like if you feel called to work at a church and you feel like the door is opening, walk through it, even if it's not your first pick, because also working in ministry and being around the church long enough, I know that roles are constantly shifting. So like you're never going to be stuck in the one position for your entire career.
Yeah.
So just like walk through the door and don't be afraid if that's where you feel like God's leading you to go, even if you feel underqualified. Like
I
God
always
will
tell
equip you.
everybody, we have 53 staff members, probably 30-something pastors between all of our campuses. You can't have 53 staff and not have transition constantly. Something is shifting.
All the time,
and oftentimes, multiple things are shifting all at the same time. So the goal is if you like where you work, you like the people that you get to work with, and you like the bosses, then there's always places and dynamics.
Yeah.
The last big thing I want to ask you guys is, what would you like me to know about being a woman on staff at Venture that would help me be better?
I'll go. I think this has something to do with being young too. So I'm like, it's both being a woman and being young, but we talk about this. There's a group of us women that are in a discipleship group or mentor group with my mother, Pastor Di, leading us. And a lot of us are young. And so months ago, we had this conversation where we talked about how sometimes it's hard in a group setting, like a staff meeting, for example, where opinions are asked of us, of the whole staff, to voice our opinion, because we have so many people. Anybody that's been around Venture for any length of time knows we have a lot of like extroverted, loud, we just have a lot of energetic people on our staff that are
Intense.
like intense at times. And so just like allowing space for women to have a voice and the young people to have a voice, where normally we might sit back and like just let all of the more seasoned people on staff or the men on staff or
The big
whoever it may
kids.
be, the big kids at the table to have.
So do you guys
space.
feel like that is more, that opportunity is not provided, or
No,
you guys have to find your voice and being able to do it?
Well, I think that it's not provided.
Yeah.
But yes, it's a combination that we need to find our voice. But also, I think there have been times where it's like the young people have spoken up, and it's like, yeah, the big kids at the table, the more seasoned people, it's like immediately shot down. So it's
Yeah.
like when you have more positive experience of like, I brought up my opinion and it was actually valued around the table, that makes us more confident to say our piece. But when
Yeah.
it's like, I've had experiences where it's like, I say my opinion and then it just goes south around the table. I'm like,
So
okay.
you don't necessarily feel like that happens because you're a girl.
No.
That's
No.
happening because you're a young punk.
I think yeah, I'm a punk. But also, I just think the reality is most of the guys on our team are very outspoken.
That's what
so
I was
just
gonna
don't
say.
think
it just
that
happens to correlate with being a woman and being young.
But I don't think it has anything, because I mean, when Nicole was here, she was literally like the most, outspoken person at the table.
Yeah, she was a bulldog.
Yeah, she was very unafraid to say her opinion. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's just more like
I think it's the combination of being young with being a woman, and sometimes
Yeah.
you're, I don't know.
One of the
afraid to stand
things,
up.
again, that Di knows, she's probably told you guys this when she mentors you
Yes.
guys, that I have a very strong opinion about everything.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes, even though I have a strong opinion about something, I really don't care what we do. Mm-hmm. But there's sometimes I
Really
do.
care. Yeah.
But I realize, especially, I mean, Gen Z is different, but when you worked with millennials, like millennials, everybody had to have their voice and share their opinion. So again, it was 10 years of only millennials and Gen Xers at the table. Now we have a diverse Gen Z millennials. So I always had to hear everybody's opinion,
Yeah.
even if I already knew what I was going to do. But the staff figured out a long time ago to ask me up front
Yep.
if
Yeah.
I've decided. And only about probably 1 out of 10 things have I decided. I would use, like, an example would be, like, we were bantering before we even started recording about, we had got to choose paint colors. And I stepped out of that and let kind of the young team pick the paint colors and just decided I disagreed on the auditorium. So,
he wants to paint it pink.
yes.
Yeah.
I just
Hot
don't,
pink.
I don't want everything white. I don't want it to feel like the hospital that
I
I just came
agree.
out of.
There has to be dimension.
Yes,
Which
good.
is why
Okay,
we're
good.
adding accent colors.
All
in the
right.
lobby.
Girls, step up. Make that decision.
Claire and I are also designing basically the entire new building.
Yeah,
So.
literally zero experience with interior design.
Except for my office. You're not
Right,
designing my
nope,
office.
thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also
I'd be intimidated
purchased
by
a
that.
toilet for the executive wing bathroom.
Hopefully
Because
you
we
guys
had
like
no parameters on what we were supposed to buy. So
So I guess overall, I'll just ask this carte blanche question across the board. So do you guys feel honored and respected as a woman leader at Venture, not just from the staff here, but from the people in the church?
Oh my gosh, yes. Absolutely.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good job, Venture. Last thing, we're going to wind this thing down, land the plane, in the words of Tony. My favorite thing lately in the podcast, now that Tony has a real job, Tony he'll kind of look at and he gets very antsy.
When
in
it's
the-
time to end.
And then he will, like, it won't matter. We can be in the middle of a deep conversation and a guest is crying. And Tony will be like, well, we got to land this plane. And
no, it's so true.
just abrupt end. I hear from our listeners all the time. I'm not doing
That's
that.
so Tony.
But I do want to hear, what are you guys watching, listening to, and reading as we ask all of our guests? Rachel, what are you watching?
I prepared for this. Well, I already shared that I'm watching Dancing with the Stars, but I'm also starting to watch the new season of Survivor.
Okay, good.
I'm a reality TV girl, so
What are you watching, Claire? Besides Dancing with the Stars, it's already been said.
Oh my gosh. Nolan and I are watching the Waco. You remember what happened in Waco, Texas?
Yeah.
There's like a what is it called when like there's
Documentary?
No, but-
Biodoc?
yeah, it's like they're actors representing the documentary. Incredible. Edge of my seat. So we're watching that right now.
Okay.
I have to watch.
All right, what are you listening to currently? Any podcasts that you're listening to?
What am I listening to? I don't know if I'm listening to anything right
What type
now.
of music do you listen to? So
That's a
Nolan,
good question.
uniquely, he plays in that weird band,
Yep.
and he plays in the country band.
Yep.
Are you into the weird music or the country music?
So the weird music that you say is indie rock. That is like if I'm tired of
Angry and
listening.
you want to smash
It's-
stuff?
It is so far from that. It's so funny. Indie rock is like, have you ever heard of the band Coin? It's
Every-
like happy, upbeat, like
Anytime I've watched that band that he plays in, and I just think, and I'm like,
so
this
funny.
this is where
Okay.
the first time I feel old. I just don't get it.
Well,
it seems like noise.
yes, Nolan loves country music. I love country music. That's like the main genre I listen to, but I also listen to, I guess, I don't know, other than country.
Are you a big Swiftie? Are you a Taylor
Not-
Swift? Like
I
Rachel?
like her, but no, I'm not a Swiftie.
Okay.
So.
All right. What about you? What are you currently listening? Any podcasts?
I am listening to a podcast. It's called That's the Point podcast. And it's this girl. I watched a lot of YouTube videos throughout my life. And it's this YouTube vlogger that I would watch. And then she started a podcast. She's like a really strong Christian. Her name's Kristen Johns.
Oh yeah.
She's a really strong Christian, and it's her and her guy best friend that do this podcast, and they're hilarious, and they love Jesus. So they like incorporate like their faith into it, which is really cool. So I listen to that. And then I, music wise, have been addictively listening to the Sabrina Carpenter album, her new one. So, and then the new Taylor Swift album is coming out this weekend. So
Yeah.
I will be listening to that and going to the movie premiere. So
So is Sabrina
Shout
Carpenter, is she the one that does that song? Is it called Espresso or
Yes.
whatever? Okay. All right.
it's called Espresso or
Are
whatever.
you impressed that I pulled that one out?
That is maybe one of the most well-known songs across the world to date. So
I'm just
not
proud of
that
myself.
impressed.
Yeah.
All right. And what are you reading?
I'm still reading The Surrogate by Freedom McFadden.
Oh my
haven't
gosh,
finished
that's
that.
not a good sign.
Oh, I read that.
Well, haven't
but-
really been reading recently.
Of course he's read that.
Of course. Yeah.
Just so everybody knows, my father here, he reads all of the same books as Claire and I. Oh,
Sorry, I'm trying to figure
also
out
on
the book
his
that I'm
phone.
reading.
He reads all the same books as Claire and I and all of our friends. And
Yeah.
so we jokingly, a lot of these books are being made into movies in the next year. And we've jokingly like said that we should invite you to come along with us.
There's a
Us
Colleen
and all the
Hoover,
girls.
a Colleen Hoover book coming out that you've read, The Housemaid.
I know, that actually looks pretty
That's
good.
Freedom
Yeah.
McFadden.
My wife likes
Claire.
that. I would go see that with my wife.
December
Oh,
19th,
wait.
Freedom McFadden.
Oh, thank you.
It's okay.
Yeah, Freedom McFadden. And yeah, you should go see it.
December 19th, there's going to be a group of us girls. You could come along.
Well, I got to see what it's rated because I would be highly embarrassed if it's inappropriate. And I'm
That's
sitting
fair.
there with a bunch of 20-something girls in the church.
That's
That would
actually
be
so
very
true.
popular.
I am actually reading a book called We Used to Live Here, and it's a thriller, and it's actually so good. I got halfway through in a day. So
I've already read that book.
Really? Is it good?
I don't
It's
remember it.
kinda
I did it
ghosty
while I
vibes.
was listening to it while I was
Crouch, or
working in my
Survive?
yard.
I don't remember that.
I listened to it the entire day and it was done because it's about an 8-hour.
Yeah,
Audiobook.
I'm addictively devouring
So you
it,
do your own yard work?
I love.
You don't use Anderson
doing yard
Lawn
work.
Care?
Yeah.
Oh, I will
Interesting.
occasionally, if I don't have time, I will hire him. Yes,
Okay.
but I like doing my own yard work. That's why I'd like to live on a ranch, be able to take care of
A
all my
ranch?
own little hobby farm.
There's no ranch.
There's no ranches in Mukilteo, I'm sorry.
I know it's the fighting over the water or wanting to
do
move
have to
back to
choose.
Montana someday. But
What?
too cold in Montana. What about you? What are you reading?
Well, I already said I'm reading The Surrogate by Freedom McFadden.
Oh, The Surrogate. I'm currently reading Facebook: The Inside Story by Stephen Levy.
That sounds
Super interesting.
interesting.
Super good. It's about the history of Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg. Love it.
Oh, okay.
If you're into, it's a biop.
Nope.
I think
I'm
that's
more
what
of
they're
a
called.
thriller girl.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for listening. Next week, once again, Tony is not here. But we did a special recording. I was flown to Springfield, Missouri. I was given the opportunity to interview Hal Donaldson, the CEO, the founder of Convoy of Hope. Next week, we will be dropping that episode. We recorded it a month and a half ago, but we're going to officially let everyone hear it. You get to hear about this incredible partner that we have. But thank you for listening to Pastors Unfiltered. Again, like, subscribe, please share this podcast. And if there's anything that Claire or Rachel said that offended you or bothered you, Morgan Butcher would love to know.
He would.
So morgan.b at ourventure.church. I don't even know the emails anymore. But thank you guys for listening, and never forget, Jesus is the hope of the world. Let's make him famous.
Raiders roll.